and welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing something super different and super exciting. If you're new here, my name is Sarah, or Miss Poquette. I am a first grade teacher and this is my third year. And I'm on social media and I see so many teachers DMing me, asking questions in the comments about what is your biggest tip for a first year or soon to be first year new teacher. And I thought, gosh, I have so much to say about this, but I know that my friends on Instagram and TikTok who are teachers that have been doing this longer than me have some really good wisdom for you as well. So what we're doing today is I have compiled some of my favorite teacher besties to give you one piece, their most often suggested one piece of information for first year teachers. I thought, I could do a video on this, but then I realized that that's just my experience. Those are just my opinions, my feelings about it. And it'd be so much better for you guys to learn from teachers that have been teaching different amount of time. I'm a third year teacher. We've got teachers in this video that have been teaching over 10 years. So they have different wisdom than me. Teachers that teach in different states and teachers that teach different grade levels, right? So I'm excited to share this information with you, and let's get started. All right, I'm up first. My biggest piece of advice for new or first year teachers is to be aware and to come up with a plan for your time management. So what I mean by that is you as a teacher are going to be given prep time, hopefully daily, where you are going to need to get done everything, to set up your classroom and to prepare for the next week. And it's really hard to be productive in that 40-minute time slot, 40 minutes, whatever it is for you, that's what it is for me. And so I came up with a plan so that every single day I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing on my prep time. For example, on Wednesdays, I lesson plan for the following week. On Thursdays, I print everything I'm gonna need for the next week. And then on Friday, I take out everything from the centers that I no longer need and put new things in. And I plan for my daily 5 small groups on a different day. All that being said, come up with what works for you so that you can use that in every single year to follow. It's so hard to stay within your contract hours your first year. I know that. I still have trouble with that my third year of teaching, but just respect the time that you have been given in your planning already to use that most effectively so that you don't have to take things home every night, or you don't have to get there crazy early every single morning, if that makes sense. That's my biggest piece of advice. Time management, focus on it, be aware, and do everything intentionally your first year so that in the next years, you don't have to put as much work in. Let's hear what other teachers have to say.
Hi guys, my name is Sabrina over at Teaching Little Minds, and I'm a third year kindergarten teacher in Florida. And my biggest piece of advice to you as a first year teacher, especially during the craziness of the entire world right now, is to take care of yourself. As a perfectionist, as a type A teacher, I want everything to be perfect all the time. I always want to be fixing, taking work home, coming in early, staying late. I want everything to be perfect, and that's not the reality of teaching. So take care of yourself now more than ever. Take care of your students. Academics are not your first priority. Your first priority is taking care of yourself and taking care of your students. So I'm here in my safe place in my classroom, and this entire safe place is inspired by ConsciousDiscipline.com with Becky Bailey. If you haven't heard of that, go check them out. All of these resources are from ConsciousDiscipline.com, and this is where I stem from everything. This is where I start at the beginning of the year, and this is where I teach my students that the first thing we are going to do in school, in kindergarten, is we are going to take care of ourselves and each other. And that is pretty much what a safe place is. A safe place is somewhere that your students can go to identify, regulate, and cope with their feelings. So these Schubert books from ConsciousDiscipline.com are everything to me at the beginning of the year, and pretty much the first couple months of the school year. They teach your students how to be in school, how to make friends, how to use a big voice, how to be helpful instead of hurtful, how to do breathing techniques, seeing the best in other people, making your choices, and identifying and dealing with your anger. So literally, these books are everything to me. They also talk about developing a school family and wishing others well and just caring about others around you. This is how I start the year. This is what is most important for your students. I actually have these super cute storybooks from Little Spots of Emotion, and you can find them but just by Googling that and going on the website, and they are all different books that identify each individual feeling and talk to your students about what your body experiences during that feeling and how we can cope our body getting through that feeling. So they also come with these adorable little plush toys. You can get them in bigger sizes or the little ones. This is Love and Confidence, Peaceful and Sadness, Scribble and Happiness, and Anxiety and Anger. So go on their website. You can actually use my code Sabrina10 with 2 N's to get 10% off any of their resources. So these are the things that are close to my heart in my classroom. This is what is most important to me. This is my biggest advice to you.
Hi guys, my name is Miss Weidenheimer, or also Fantastically First on TikTok and Instagram. This is my 5th year teaching, which is actually crazy to even think that. I've been teaching 1st grade for 4 years, and my 1st year I taught 2nd grade. The best piece of advice that I can give new teachers is if a lesson does not go the way that you had planned it to go, it's okay. It's okay to totally start anew, to just scrap the whole lesson and start fresh. Never be afraid to do that. Also, do not take all of the work home that you have to. It will get done. It will get done. It's okay. It's okay to also have a life. And the last one is never be afraid to ask questions, because it's always better to ask the questions than to wish that you had. Trust in yourself, believe in yourself, and know that this is what you were called to do. You were called to help kids. You were called to be a teacher, and trust in that. Good luck.
What is up? It's Emmanuel, also known as Mystery Manzer from TikTok. One piece of advice that I would like to give a new teacher is to ask for help. One thing that I really struggled with was asking for help, because I always felt like I wasn't a good teacher if I were to ask for help. And I don't know why. I felt like I should have already known these things from school, but there's some things that you don't learn from school. And I would spend countless hours prepping my lessons and finding resources. And once I reached out to a colleague about my issues that I was struggling with in my lessons, she was able to provide me resources and things that she does in the class a lot more efficiently. So it wasn't too much of a time constraint. So ask for help, you will learn from your mistakes, and you will do great.
Hey guys, it's Miss Smith from Fabulously First Grade, and I'm so excited that Miss Paquette asked me to be a part of her advice video, and I have some short advice for you guys. My 1st and 2nd year teaching, I definitely made a lot of mistakes, but I did learn from them. One important thing I learned is not to call out students in front of the whole class about their behavior. It definitely makes the situation worse. It adds fuel to the fire. It's something that I have done in the past, and I'm embarrassed that I have done it, and it's not good to call out students and yell at them in front of the other students. I don't know why. Back when we went to school, it was just a thing that teachers did, and it gained them respect, and kids were scared of them, and that's just not how it is nowadays. I would yell at a specific child and call them out in front of the class, and it would just make them act even worse, and it was just a bad situation, and I'm really embarrassed that I did that, but I learned from my lessons, and now if I have time, I'll pull the kids in the hallway to chat with them about their specific behavior problems. I'll call them to my table and address it one-on-one so we can get to the root of the behavior problem. And that has definitely changed the classroom environment in my classroom, and I hope it works for you guys as well.
Hi, my name is Kayla. I'm a 1st grade teacher. I also go by Life in First on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. I was asked what my biggest piece of advice would be for new teachers, and the first thing I thought about was flexibility. Be a flexible teacher. Get into your new school, they're gonna give you a curriculum, probably for math and reading. And in those curriculums has day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, most of the time, at least in my experience, that's what it's been. And it might tell you for reading what vocabulary words to teach, the stories to read, the worksheets to do, what to do for small groups. And just remember, even if you have that curriculum, that's a guideline. You can switch it up and make it your own. You don't need to follow it to a T. And what I mean by that is if it tells you to read this certain story, but you have a better story in mind that's more engaging, it's richer literature, use that one instead to teach the same standard. Flexibility is so important because every day is different and every lesson's different, and it might work sometimes and it might not. So if you're in the middle of teaching and it's just going horribly, stop teaching. Don't continue it just to finish the lesson. If you finish teaching a lesson and you look back and you think they just didn't get it, go back and reteach it the next day and just do something a little bit different. And that's okay if it puts you behind a couple days in the map, because there's a curriculum map usually where it tells you what what unit or module you should be on. And again, that's also a guideline. It just helps you kind of have an idea of where you should be, but it's okay if you're not right on the day you need to be on, because what's most important is making sure you are engaging those kids, getting them motivated, getting them excited to learn. It can be hard to be flexible. I know it can be hard when you're supposed to be on day 4 of module 2 and you're not because you should go a little bit longer. It's okay. And being flexible means you can be more creative with your lessons. You don't have to follow it exactly how it's meant to be taught. You can choose different games. Our math curriculum has certain games to play, and sometimes I just play other games because my kids like them more. So be creative, be flexible, and have fun this year.
Hey all, Miss Kadeem here. I always get the question, what is your #1 teacher tip? And I always go with create meaningful relationships. I think that taking time at the beginning of the school year to get to know your student, to get to know what they like, what they dislike, to get to know their culture and their language and where they come from, and being able to incorporate that into the classroom is huge. Once you create that relationship with your student, you create that trusting culture and environment, the learning just takes off. So you might have to push the curriculum aside a little bit in the beginning, but it is so worth it. You're going to be so thankful that you took that extra time to get to know your student.
Hi new teachers. So I am Michelle Bates. This is my 13th year of teaching. So if I could give you any pieces of advice, the first thing would be make sure you know how your kids are going home. Make sure that you get everything in writing if they're gonna change it. Just my biggest fear in life is losing a kid. So my first and biggest piece of advice is know how they're getting home. Like confirm with parents if you have to make phone calls during your lunch break the first day, if you have to contact them through email, text message, carrier pigeon, know how they're going home. The second piece of advice I have is to follow through. If you tell your students what something is a consequence, you gotta mean it. Even if it stinks. So if you tell them they're missing out on recess because they have to clean something up or they have to do work, and that means that you miss out on your break of the day, like you gotta follow through. These kids will steamroll you if you don't say what you mean and mean what you say. So those are my 2 biggest pieces of advice. It's the best job in the entire world. Good luck.
Hi, so I teach kindergarten, and I would definitely say that my biggest piece of advice is to build those relationships. I think that that is the core of absolutely everything you do. It is the core of your behavior management. You can have all the fun little systems and stuff in the world, but I think that's what's made the biggest difference in my class. So one thing I do at the beginning of the year is I send out surveys to their grown-ups, and I have them fill out information about their favorite TV show, favorite sport, any siblings' names and pet names and anything that the kids are into. And at the beginning of the year, whenever I'm teaching routines and we're getting into our center rotations, I'll have them come up to my teacher table and I'll just ask them questions. And if they're not sure about something or they're a little shy and they don't want to talk and stuff, then I'll bring up things. I'll be like, oh, I see you like to watch SpongeBob and stuff like that. And so it just kind of like lights them up a little bit. And I think that's made the absolute biggest difference. You think back to the teachers that you were fond of as a student yourself, and think back about who made the biggest difference in your life and why. It was never the content. It was always the relationship and how they made you feel like you were cared about. There's a lot of directions I could have taken this, but I think that at the very core, it's about those relationships, because kids want to work hard for people that they like. And I know for me, if somebody that I don't really like that much asks me to do something, I'm going to do the bare minimum. And maybe that's a personal flaw, but if somebody that I like asks me to do something, I'm going to try a lot harder. And I know I'm not there just to be their friend, but I am there as their teacher, and I can still build a relationship as a teacher. And I definitely think that's what I think is important. So, bye.
Hello, my name is Miss C. If you don't know me, most of my social media is Hey Miss C. And I'm on here to share my best piece of advice for first-year teachers. And although there is so much advice that I wish I could give you, there's also a lot of wonderful ladies on here that are going to share their best piece of advice for you. So my advice that I'd like to share with you is to take each day, day by day. Things are going to go wrong. Things aren't going to be perfect, and that's okay. I so many times you know, the saying, don't sweat the small stuff. Oh my gosh, I did that so many times though. You know, you have your lessons you're gonna do, you have your calendar, you have your planner, and you have each little thing you're gonna do for the day, thinking it's gonna go perfectly smooth, and it's not. Some days it will, and you'll feel like you're on top of the world, but most days that's not the case. You'll either forget something for that lesson, or you can teach it and feel like you did an awful job, or you can tell that your students didn't grasp your lesson, and you're gonna freak out, you're gonna feel like you failed. Don't do that. Take each day, day by day, take a deep breath. Don't sweat the small stuff, because we're all human. We all make mistakes. No teacher is perfect. Even veteran teachers are gonna mess up. They're gonna feel like their lessons were, and that's okay. Try again tomorrow. Just don't feel like you failed your kids, because you didn't. You showed up, you put on a happy face, you stayed positive. You can tell your students, you know, I tell my students all the time, I'll forget something and I say, you know what, I'm a teacher, but I'm a human too, and I also make mistakes just like you. So if something bad happens in your lesson or just during the day, don't sweat it. You're gonna be good. Tomorrow's a new day. Always remember that.
And that's it. I really hope those tips were helpful. Leave comments down below about what you liked, what you'd like to see more of, and if you enjoyed this sort of collaborative YouTube video with other teachers. I was so excited to put this together for y'all, and we'll definitely do more in the future if we can. Thank y'all for watching. Feel free to subscribe, like, and comment, and I will see you soon. Bye.